Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Dennis.
Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go.
Hi, Dennis.
Yep.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. There we go.
Hi, Dennis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Dennis and Ellen, can you both hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
Dave.
but it sounds like everybody's in a can.
Good. Oh, in a can.
Yeah, it's very difficult to understand and hear.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, I agree.
Mary, are you able to hear us okay?
Yes.
Dennis and Ellen, can you both hear me okay?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, Dave.
everybody's in a can.
Good. Oh, in a can.
Yeah, it's very difficult to understand and hear.
Yeah, I agree.
Mary, are you able to hear us okay?
Yes.
Dennis and Ellen, can you both hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, Dave. It's going around in a loop now.
Good. Can.
yeah, it's very difficult to understand and hear.
Everything's going around in a loop.
Mary, are you able to hear us okay? Can I suggest if you're not going to be talking at the time to stay muted, that would help.
It's going around in a loop now.
Good.
Everything's going around in a loop.
Whoever that's talking now, I can't understand them.
It's the same thing over and over again being said.
Okay. Can I suggest if you're not going to be talking at the time to stay muted, that would help.
It's going around in a loop now. The audio is going around in a loop.
No, I can't understand them.
It's the same thing over and over again being said.
Can I suggest if you're not going to be talking at the time to stay muted, that would help. There's a long delay. There's about a 5-second delay. I made a comment and I heard it 5 seconds later.
The audio is going around in a loop.
No, I can't understand them.
It's the same thing over and over again.
Can I suggest if you're not going to be talking at the time to stay muted, that would help. There's a long delay. There's about a 5-second delay. I made a comment and I heard it 5 seconds later. No, I can't understand it.
It's the same thing over and over again.
There's a long delay. There's about a 5-second delay. I made a comment and I heard it 5 seconds later.
Brianna, we have Zoom on.
It's repeating itself.
We only have one, so we close out of that. Cancel the YouTube stream. So we'll close Chrome real quick and see if that does.
It's repeating itself.
Yep. Close that out. Then make that the man.
How's everybody doing now? Unmute somebody.
This is not going to work.
Hold on.
David, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay, so we fixed it because now we're hearing you in real time.
Thank you, Brianna. I think we're fixed. Dennis, Eileen, can you hear us okay?
I can. It's fairly quiet. I don't know if you're close to the mic or not.
I think we're good.
Just have to talk. Just yell, Mary.
Okay, Dave.
You may have to speak a little louder, Mary. The Civil Service Commission for the Lakewood Police Department is called to order. It's 9:30 a.m. and it's November the 4th.
Dave, we lost your audio.
We can hear you, Dave.
I would like to have the other people in the room identified for purposes of minutes. Can you do that, Mary?
Yes, I'm Heidi Wachter, City Attorney, and I'm counsel to the Civil Service Board.
Sergeant Prater, Lakewood Police. Put them all on Lakewood Police.
Tracy Freeman, HR Tech.
Thank you. Our first order of business is approval of the minutes for July 29, 2021. Can I have a motion for those minutes to be approved?
Motion so made.
It's been made and a second. You're muted, Dennis.
Sorry, I second.
It's been moved and second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes for July 29, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. Our first order of business is a cancellation of eligibility for 3 of the list. And I'd like to start off with the Lateral police officer list. There are 2 candidates that are listed to be ineligible for employment with Lakewood Police Department. The first being Christopher Backus. I would like to have a motion to remove Christopher Backus as ineligible from the Lateral police officer list for Lakewood.
So move.
Move. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I had a question not only on Backus, but on several of the others. This is just a procedural thing. When looking at the disqualification notes on the back where it says, ask the investigator whether a 1-year recommendation to remove from the list is recommended. On a number of those, it says no. And then there's an approval by the chief or the acting to approve it. Now, am I reading this correctly that the investigators in a number of these are, even though it's been approved for disqualification, the investigator recommended that the person not be removed from the list.
I lost most of your comment, Dennis. Was that directed to me or was it directed to Mary?
Actually, the police, Chris, Jeremy.
About 1 year removal. Who makes that decision?
They are,
I can't hear you.
I know, I was trying.
they are removed from the list.
I hear you now.
The decision as to whether somebody's removed for 1 year or some other period of time is made by the chief of police ultimately. If that was the question, Mr. Roden.
The question at the back, there's only one question. Investigator requesting 1 year removal for cause.
Correct.
And there's the yes or no.
Yes, the investigator can make that recommendation, but the decision is ultimately made by the chief. So the investigator provides the information, but they don't get the final say, as I understand it. And I see heads nodding, so I think I'm correct on that.
Okay, so
And
I understand it.
And just to be really clear, investigators generally, that's their role, is to provide information, and they can make recommendations based on the information. But the final decision is not almost ever going to be made just by an investigator by themselves. The process doesn't work that way.
I understand that. You know, the final decision's made by the chief or whoever is acting. I just noticed that on Mr. Backus, the recommendation was not to remove, and the individual was recommended for removal. And that was the case in about 6 of these cases. I just wanted clarification, that's all.
Okay, good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of removal, Mr. Backus, say aye.
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 Mr. Backus has been approved to be removed from the eligibility list. The next person that we are going to entertain is the name of Sanjay Prasad. May I have a recommendation that he be removed, or I assumed he will be removed from the eligibility list for a lateral police officer?
So moved.
It's been moved. Have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of removing of Sanjay Prasad from the lateral police officer list indicated by saying aye.
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 Sanjay Prasad has been approved to be removed from the eligibility list for lateral police officer. The next person we would like to deal with is the court officer, Mr. Rodney Brown. May I have a recommendation that Mr. Rodney Brown be removed from the from the court officer eligibility list?
So moved.
It's been moved and second. It's been moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Rodney Brown has been approved. Oh, sorry. All in favor of removing Mr. Rodney Brown from the list, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rodney Brown has been approved to remove from the court officer's eligibility list. Our next is a large group of people from the police officer entry. I will start off by asking for a recommendation to remove Adrian Leba Hopefully I'm pronouncing the names correct. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
It has been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
A general question. 9 out of 20 on this original list that's dated July 29th have been recommended for disqualification. To what do you think is the reason for so many disqualifications? And this is directed to the police department.
I'm once again appearing as your translator, but you'll see them nod in the background. Yes, it's a high number, and it's indicative of what's going on not only in Lakewood, but also regionally and nationally. There's a lot of competition for police officers right now. And I will tell you that I saw a meme not too long ago that was, or a little, just a play on it. If you go back 10 or 20 years, we were able to be so selective because we were getting massive amounts of applicants. And I guess what I would tell you is those days are gone. The punchline of the skit is now people are basically saying, you know, do you have a pulse? Would you like to be an officer? And it's really just vastly different than what we saw years ago, but we have to still maintain a standard. So we take the pool we get, and they were disqualified for different reasons, but it's still trying to maintain that standard. If you want to get into general specifics, the officer over here, and we can make them come up and talk about it. But if we're getting specific officer by officer, I would recommend that you would have to do that in an executive session. But
no,
this is what we're saying.
Dave, I don't have, actually, I don't have any objections to any of them. It's just that there was such a high number. We don't see these types or numbers of disqualifications in the past. And it just surprises me that almost half of the people referred on the last list, half of them are disqualified. So we're left with only half of the original list left for referral and selection.
Dennis, there's another point that I might bring out since Mary helped me through it. On that list was another 6.
Can't hear you, Dave. Dave, can't hear you. Dave?
Hello.
Go.
Okay, now I can hear you.
I was saying that on that list is another 6 people, 1 who was offered the job and 5 who withdrew. So there's that left that list with only 4 people on it out of the 20 when we get through with this.
That's a good point, because I did notice that 7 of those people on the original list are not on the new list. So
Yeah.
I was wondering what happened to those 7 people too. Were they hired or did they withdraw or what?
Well, one of them was hired and the others withdrew.
Okay.
Do I have if no further discussion, I'd like to have the vote on removing Adrian Lateral from the entry, police officer entry list. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then Adrian Lateral has been removed. The next person to entertain is Brandon Martin. May I have a motion to remove Brandon Martin from the police eligibility list?
So moved.
It
Second.
has been moved to second. It is second. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
None, all in favor of removal of Brandon Martin? Yes.
Dave, On the rules of procedure, are we required to do each one of these one by one? The reason I ask is because I have no objections to any of the other people on the list.
I don't have any objections to any of them either, but I just think for being legal, I think we should do each one because each one applied separately.
Okay, you
didn't apply as a group.
I see. You can't read each of those individuals by name and then ask and then read each individual by name be eliminated. You can't do that.
Perhaps so. I don't know. Heidi, could you address that?
Just to save time.
Yeah.
Yes, my recommendation would be that you can do them as a group, provided that there is documentation of what the names are. You can read all the names at once and say these are all recommended. It would almost be like a consent agenda effect. And unless you have a rule against that, which I do not believe you do, you can do it that way. And
Okay, fine.
there are super specifics as to any one person. We would want to do that in an executive session. But if you are comfortable with all of them, the other thing you could do is present it like a consent agenda, read all the names, and if somebody has one person they want to pull out, you could pull that one out for separate consideration. So yes, there is an option to do it that way.
Okay, thank you very much. Dennis, thank you for your comment. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of removing Brandon Martin from the list signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, Brandon Martin has been removed. Next, we'll list the names of people that I recommend to be removed from the list. When I complete the recommendation, the list, then I would entertain a motion to remove all the remaining people. The next person, Chelsea Kennedy, Daniel Stepano, Justin Hoover, Christopher White, Justin Pierce Powell, Princess Wortham, Brandon Jones, and Chelsea Kennedy. May I have a motion to have those individuals removed from the police eligibility list?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
It has been moved and second. Is there any further discussion?
Dave, do you have Cody Bishop?
What's that?
You have Cody Bishop? I believe
Bishop.
I sent that one yesterday.
Oh, I forgot to add him to my list. May I add the name Bishop also to the list? And may I ask again that I have a motion to remove all the names that have been mentioned?
So moved.
So move the second.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, signify removal by God, turn it tied up here. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All the persons that have been named are removed from the entry level eligibility list. That was a long one to get through. Next order of business is certification on entry police officer eligibility list.
Yeah, let's see. We have a list before you of 20 names. So we added 16. We've got 4 females. Do you want further breakdown of the demographics?
Mary, I have a question.
Okay.
The number 18 then would be off the list, correct?
Oh, right. Good catch. So so we're down to 19. So yes, number 18, Bishop, should be removed. So the demographics of the males, there's 9 white males, 4 Hispanic, 1 Pacific Islander, 1 of 2 or more races, and 1 didn't identify. The 4 females, 1 white, 1 Hispanic, 1 Asian, and 1 race.
May I have a motion to approve the entry-level police officer eligibility list as printed minus the name Cody Bishop?
So moved.
It's been moved and second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of approval of the entry-level police eligibility list signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The list has been approved. The next order of business is the certification of the Lateral police officer eligibility list.
Okay, so 3 names added to the list. We've got a total of 4, all white males.
Can I get a motion to approve the police officer lateral eligibility list?
So move.
It's moved. In a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
I had a question.
Okay.
Mary, is
Yes.
number 3 Connor Cockle related to Raider Cockle on the 7th July 29th lateral list?
Yes, brother.
They're brothers?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the lateral eligibility list signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The list has been approved. The next order of business is the workforce demographics. Mary?
Yes, I provided you all with a copy of that. As you could see, we had a total of 92 commissioned officers from the rank of lieutenants to police officer.
Does that mean we have 5 or 6 vacancies?
Well,
Yes.
at least.
Okay. I had a, go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Dave. The black male detective and the Native American male officer, what happened to them? Did they voluntarily leave, or did they retire, or what happened to those individuals?
Les Bunton, the detective, retired. But I don't know who the other person is. Lawson also retired. Both retired.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand.
Off retirement.
Both retired. Dennis, both retired.
Both retired? Thank you.
I might add a certain thing happened. I was visiting a friend, and this friend said, and this young man came out of his house, and my friend said, "Oh, he used to be with the Lakewood Police Department, but he just retired." And I walked over, and it's our detective who had just retired. Never met him before, never saw him before, but he was living 2 doors from a neighbor, a person that I visit all the time.
Really?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mary, thank you very much for the demographics. Your report.
So currently we have active job postings for lieutenant, entry police officer, and lateral police officer. Lieutenant closes on Monday, the 8th. That includes the assessment center, which will hold in January. Entry police officer will close December 31st. We'll be testing on January 15th. So,
I didn't understand the last couple of words in there.
for entry police officer, testing is on January 15th.
Thank you.
Staffing changes since our July 29th meeting. Retirements. Detective Brian Johnson, that's retired December 1st. Detective Brian Larson, retired August 20th. Officer Dave Butts will be going November 30th. Officer Darren Latimer, retired July 31st. Officer Paul Ostis, retired October 31st. And resignations, Officer Travis Elisara, going sometime this month. Zachary Fuller and Melody Wright also this month. And we've got Officer Brand Corey, and Trainer. And currently we have approved fill 9 positions. We've made a conditional offer to David Doherty. And after today's meeting, we'll be sending out 3 additional offers.
Any comments?
Is that the end of your report, Mary?
Yes.
Do you know what's happening on the replacement for the irreplaceable Mr. Boyd?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part, Dennis.
Yes. Do you know the status of replacing the irreplaceable Mr. Boyd?
Heidi does. You can't leave, Dave.
Yeah, the leadership team was discussing this just yesterday or Tuesday at our leadership team meeting. We do not have applicants for that opening at this time, and we have been announcing it at different community events and trying to get the word out. So if you're aware of someone who might be interested or an organization contacting, please let us know and we'll go that extra mile to try and get some interested folks. I personally have approached a person or two asking them. The problem is that the people I approach are already doing so much for the city that asking them to do one more thing is like a bit much. So we are interested in anyone that you might want us to contact. We are beyond just posting it, and we're in the area of direct contact.
Mary, is it January? My time is up.
Yes. Yes.
If we don't, I've been asking people also, if we don't have anyone, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I would consider being appointed as an interim until we do find someone.
Oh,
That would be very helpful.
Wonderful.
Great.
Interim, not 6 months, not 6 years.
Interim has many meanings.
Do we have any other comments or any other business?
Nope.
Hearing none, have a motion to dismiss in our meeting.
So move.
So move. Our meeting is adjourned.
All right. Mary, is this our only Zoom meeting or is there going to be another one?
The latest directive from the governor is good through November 30th. I don't know what's down the road at this.
Okay.
I hope not.
I'm with you.
All right, everyone, have a good week.
Okay, see ya.
Same to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.